Am I the a-hole for telling my neighbor to respect my toddler's boundaries? My neighbor 59F saw myself 30F, my son 2M and my daughter 5F outside in the front yard today and decided to walk over to chat with the kids. It was mostly small talk with my daughter Lily about how big she is and her preschool. My neighbor Danielle then turned her attention to my son Jackson, who was running carefree in circles. She looked at him and said, "Aren't you huge? I need to pick you up," and started walking towards him. He ran away, as toddlers do with people they aren't super familiar with. Normally, this is the part where people make a joke about him running away from them and they move on. She did not move on. She kept trying to corner him, for lack of a better term. When she did, he would shake his head no, wave, and say bye. He doesn't speak much, but I feel like that is clear enough. I politely let her know that he doesn't seem to want to be picked up right now. I made sure to make it seem lighthearted by mentioning that he probably is focused on playing with his sister. I thought this would be the end of our interaction, but she continued to chase him and try and pick him up. Now when I saw chase him, I didn't mean the cute little "I'm going to get you peekaboo" type play run. She was booking it as fast as her legs would let her to keep up with him. Now here is where I might be the a-hole. I said, "Danielle, I think he is wanting you to respect his space so he can go back to playing," and she said, "He is a baby and doesn't get a choice." My tone was a lot more stern when I said, "Both of my children are allowed to set boundaries, and those boundaries will be respected, or you will need to hop back over to your yard." I don't have a great word for how she was looking at me, but bewildered and appalled will have to work for now. She mumbled something about millennial parents and disrespectful kids, and then walked back to her house. A little background: we are not very close to this neighbor. We wave when we see each other, we exchange Christmas cards, and have the occasional "how's the family" talk. She is a nice enough lady, but the drama with her children and grandchildren causes us to avoid delving into any further contact. Her daughter and son are in their late 30s and live in her home currently. They are obnoxious when they drink, to say the least. They usually end up fighting one another or inviting friends over to fight, leading to the police being there quite often. We avoid them as much as possible because I find their behavior triggering and don't want my children exposed to it. Even with that being said, they've rang our doorbell in the middle of the night and come and tried to talk to my kids when they can barely form a thought. It's just kind of chaotic and frustrating, so we avoid it when we can. Am I the a-hole for asking my neighbor to either respect my toddler's boundaries or go home?
Here are the top comments.
Not the a-hole. Good on you for protecting your kids. I remember when I was a kid, one of the worst feelings was forced physical interaction with people I hardly knew. The way she cornered him is downright terrifying to a kid. She isn't his parent. She isn't his grandparent. She's just a neighbor.
Not the a-hole. Saying he doesn't have a choice because he's little is horrible. I definitely wouldn't want her around my kids.